A very fatigued and disoriented Donald Trump just held a disastrous press conference in the Oval Office. He was flanked by Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, and the mayor of Washington, D.C., Mayor Bowser. Ostensibly, the purpose of this press conference was to announce that the NFL draft in 2026 will be taking place in Washington, D.C., but this devolved into complete and utter madness. Let's talk about what went down. Donald Trump was asked about how he decided to reopen Alcatraz, and Donald Trump talked about how he really just wants to be a filmmaker. This was a nonsensical, very odd response. Here, watch this.
How did you decide to reopen Alcatraz? Can you walk us through that decision?
Did I say what?
To reopen Alcatraz. How will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But it's right now a museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there.
As Molly Plufkins points out, guess what was on TV in South Florida on Saturday night? The 1979 Clint Eastwood film Escape from Alcatraz. The film aired on WLRN TV, a public station that serves all of South Florida, including West Palm Beach. This is how Donald Trump decided about reopening Alcatraz, which is currently a national park and that was closed because it was inefficient and costing too much money. Then Donald Trump is asked about how Catholics are very unhappy about Donald Trump posting AI images of himself as the Pope, as the community is still grieving the death of Pope Francis. Here's what Donald Trump says.
Some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
Oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics. You mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it. I had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, "Isn't that nice?"
My question about
Actually, I would not be able to be married, though. That would be a lot. I'd have to the best of my knowledge, popes aren't big on getting married, are they? Not that we know of. No. I think it's the fake news media that, they're fakers.
my question.
So Donald Trump saying that he had nothing to do with the post. You posted it. It's on your account. I mean, it says Donald Trump. This is being posted from your official account. And then Donald Trump was also saying that people aren't upset and that everybody understands it's a joke and it's just the fake news media. No, I mean, people are really upset about this. The New York State Catholic League put out a statement. Bishops have put out statements. Cardinals have put out statements. People in the Catholic community are very upset about this. And whether you're religious or not religious, I think you recognize this is offensive and odd behavior. Donald Trump then, I guess, speaking of offensive and odd behavior, attacks Prime Minister Mark Carney, who will be visiting Donald Trump tomorrow at the White House. Donald Trump says he doesn't even know why Prime Minister Carney is visiting him. And Donald Trump insinuates that Carney and other world leaders are just trying to kiss his ass. So yet another middle finger that Donald Trump is giving to Canada and Mark Carney before this visit. And you'll recall yesterday, Donald Trump said that he's going to tell Carney that he wants to annex Canada and conquer it and make it part of the United States. Canada, are you listening? Are you watching? Are you seeing this, Canada? Play this clip.
What's your expectation for your meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister tomorrow?
I don't know. He's coming to see me. I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. They all want to make a deal because we have something that they all want. We have something that they all want. China wants to make a deal very badly. You see what's happening to China? China's being decimated, and I don't want that to happen.
This is more on Donald Trump's answer about reopening Alcatraz. You'll see how incoherent it is. Let's play it.
And nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather badly ripped up. And it was a lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something strong having to do with law and order. We need law and order in this country. And so we're going to look at it. Some of the people up here are going to be working very hard on that. And we had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting.
This is more on Donald Trump's answer about posting AI images of himself as the Pope. You'll see again, incoherent, odd lies. Let's play it.
Question, though, sir, was about the fact that it was put out on the White House account. Even though it was AI generated, it was a joke, it was a meme. Does it at all diminish the substance of the official White House account to have it go out on that particular channel?
Give me a break. It was just somebody did it in fun. It's fine. Have to have a little fun, don't you? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Trump has asked another question here about annexing Canada. It's an odd question. The questioner says, would this make the United States the largest country by landmass? And Donald Trump finds that intriguing as a real estate developer, he says. Play this clip.
Yes, so you've often said you want US to be bigger, better, and stronger. Currently, Russia is the biggest country in the world by landmass, followed by Canada and then China. So when you say that you want to annex Canada, is it so that it would be the biggest country in the world?
No, I never even thought of it that way, although I am a real estate developer at heart. I've never heard that question. Yeah, please.
Here, Donald Trump continues to meander more about Alcatraz. Let's play it.
But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
Yesterday, Donald Trump also announced that he was going to tariff the movie industry for doing productions overseas. And he says he's going to tariff the movies 100% if you produce movies in other countries. Just absolutely kind of makes no sense and will kind of shut down the film industry. And most people don't even know what he's talking about. But here he is talking about it again. Play this clip.
Can you explain a little bit about how you would implement tariffs on the film industry, kind of how that would work?
Well, that's a different story. But our film industry has been decimated by other countries taking them out, and also by incompetence, like in Los Angeles. The governor is a grossly incompetent man. He's just allowed it to be taken away from, Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't do very much of that business. They have the nice sign and everything's good, but they don't do very much. A lot of it's been taken to other countries, and a big proportion. And I'm actually going to meet with some because, there's some advantages, I guess, and I'm not looking to hurt the industry. I want to help the industry. But they're given financing by other countries. They're given a lot of things. And the industry was decimated. If you look at how little is done in this country now, you think we were the ones. We used to do 100, not long ago, 100%. Now we do almost like very little. It's shocking. Are you in that business too? Because he's in so many businesses. You could explain it, but it's not a good situation. So we're going to meet with the industry. I want to make sure they're happy with it because we're all about jobs. That's all what it's very important. It's a big industry, but it's an industry now that's it's really left. It's abandoned the USA where it started.
Next, Donald Trump talks about how he wants to pay migrants $1,000 each to self-deport. They have a plan where they will pay migrants for the flights to leave and give them a $1,000 stipend to leave. I guess this was part of Donald Trump's largest deportation exercise on day one. The plan was not to have Mexico pay for the wall, but for the United States to pay migrants to leave. Play this clip.
Any of this. But what we thought we'd do is a self-deport, where we're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from, and they have a period of time.
As we posted on the MeidasTouch account, imagine if Biden did this part 1 trillion. As Trump says they'll pay immigrants in the U.S. illegally $1,000 to leave the country. And by the way, I think we've been reporting here, and you've seen it elsewhere too, that Donald Trump's deportation numbers are actually less than former President Biden's. Donald Trump's done them in very cruel public relations style ways, but ultimately, Trump's deported less than former President Biden has. But Trump's been sending people to concentration camps in El Salvador with no criminal history, whereas former President Biden deported people with criminal records quickly and efficiently out of the country. Here, Donald Trump confuses the word company with country. Play this clip.
With them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people, if they're the kind of people that we want in our company, industrious people that could love our country. And if they're not, they won't. But it will give them a path to becoming, to coming back into the country. If they miss that limit, they're going to be taken out of our country. And they will never get a path to come back in. And it'll be a much tougher process.
Donald Trump attacks the idea of trials and judges allowing there to be trials. He says there shouldn't be trials for immigrants. Let's play it.
The courts, because the courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. We're going to have 5 million trials. Doesn't work. You wouldn't have a country left. But hopefully the Supreme Court will save it. But what they've done is a very, very serious thing.
You can see Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, right there, just having the time of his life. All smiles, as Aaron Rupert says, as Donald Trump alludes to the big lie. And Donald Trump claims that the 2020 election was stolen. There's Roger Goodell right there laughing about it. This is your legacy, Goodell. Here you are. These are the types of images. These are the types of videos, Goodell, when people look back and remember you. It's stuff like this. Play this clip.
I'm not going to be able to be there as president. And then a strange thing happened. And it turned out I became president, not for the term that I was supposed to be. I became president where we have the Olympics and the World Cup. And we have something that maybe surpasses everything, the 250th anniversary of our country. So that's going to be great. That's going to be a very big event, a year-long event.
And as I said at the outset, I guess the purpose of this press conference was to announce that they're doing the draft in 2026 in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall. Here, play this clip.
2027 NFL draft. That's a big thing. Will be held right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., on the National Mall. And you get a little glimpse of it.
So that was the purpose of this whole thing. Meanwhile, Donald Trump attacking Canada, making bizarre statements about Alcatraz, talking about paying migrants $1,000. You see it for yourself. By the way, pull the transcript of what Donald Trump's response was about Alcatraz. It is the most incoherent, meandering thing. And as I said here, it's my opinion as I observe it. I view that as clearly showing someone who's cognitively diminished. The corporate news doesn't want to talk about that, but you judge for yourself. I also don't want that to be used as a way for Donald Trump to duck and dodge accountability for his heinous, horrific, dangerous, vile policies. You tell me what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.